I'm 73 years old, and I can tell you the exact moment I realized I'd been living someone else's life. It wasn't dramatic. I was sitting in my kitchen on a Tuesday morning, drinking coffee that had gone cold, and I couldn't remember the last time I'd called my daughter just to hear her voice. For most of my adult life, I believed in a simple equation: work hard, provide well, show love through sacrifice. My father taught me that. He worked double shifts at the plant so we could have a house with a yard. He missed my baseball games, my graduation, most of my childhood really. But we had that house, and I thought that was love. So when I got married at 26, I knew exactly what kind of husband and father I needed to be. I took the job with the longer commute because it paid better. I said yes to the weekend projects, the late meetings, the business trips that stretched from 3 days to 5. My wife would put dinner in the fridge with a note. The kids learned to do their homework at the kitchen table without asking for help. I told myself I was building security, building a future. That's what responsible people did. I remember my son was maybe 7 or 8, and he'd drawn this picture at school, some kind of family portrait in crayon. He'd put me in the corner of the page, smaller than everyone else, wearing a tie. My wife hung it on the refrigerator. I looked at it for maybe 5 seconds before I grabbed my keys and headed to the office. Saturday morning, there was a presentation on Monday. The thing about living like that is you don't feel like you're making terrible choices in the moment. Every single decision made sense. The promotion meant better insurance. The extra hours meant we could afford a college fund. Missing the recital meant keeping the client happy, keeping the job secure. It all connected. It all seemed necessary. My wife never complained, not directly. She'd just go quiet sometimes when I'd call to say I'd be late again, or she'd smile in this particular way when I'd promised to make it to the next thing, whatever the next thing was. I didn't understand that quietness then. I thought it meant she understood, that she agreed this was how it had to be. The kids grew up. That's what they do. My daughter went to college 3 states away. My son moved to Portland for a job in tech. They called on birthdays and holidays. We'd have these brief, pleasant conversations where everyone said the right things and nobody said anything real. I thought that was normal. I thought that was what adult family relationships looked like. I retired at 68. The company threw a small party, cake in the conference room, a plaque with my name engraved in brass, 34 years. They mentioned my dedication, my reliability, how I'd never missed a deadline. I drove home with that plaque on the passenger seat, and I remember thinking I should feel proud, accomplished, something. My wife died 2 years later. Stroke. Very sudden. And here's what I didn't expect. Going through her things, I found journals. Years of them. She'd been writing almost every day since we got married. I don't know why I started reading them. Maybe I was looking for her. Maybe I was lonely. Maybe I already knew what I'd find. She'd written about waiting. A lot about waiting. Waiting for me to come home. Waiting for me to really listen when she talked. Waiting for me to choose her just once over the office. There was this entry from our 20th anniversary. We'd planned a weekend trip, just the 2 of us. I'd canceled the Friday before because of some crisis at work that I can't even remember now. She wrote, "He doesn't see me anymore. I don't think he ever did. I'm just part of the landscape of his life, like the furniture. I sat on our bedroom floor and read 20 years of her loneliness. She'd never said any of it out loud, and I'd never asked. I tried to get closer to the kids after that, started calling more. But there's a distance that sets in when you've been absent too long, even if you were physically there. My daughter's polite. We talk about the weather, her job, surface things. My son is busier, returns my calls when he can. They have their own lives now, their own families starting. And I'm this figure who shows up at holidays, someone they feel obligated to include but don't quite know. Last Thanksgiving, I watched my son with his 5-year-old daughter, the way he got down on the floor to play with her, the way he listened when she told him some long, rambling story about her stuffed animals, the way he was just there, fully there. And I realized he'd learned to be a father despite me, not because of me. I thought about asking him once if he remembered me from his childhood, what he remembered. But I was afraid of the answer, afraid he'd be kind about it, which would somehow be worse than anger. The house feels very large now. I keep most of the rooms closed off, don't need the space. I have my chair, my television, my routines. Sometimes people from the old neighborhood stop by. We talk about nothing important. They leave, and the quiet comes back. I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. I provided. I was faithful. I paid the mortgage on time every month. I never put us in financial danger. By every practical measure, I succeeded. The retirement account was solid. The house was paid off. The kids got through college without debt. But here's what nobody tells you about that kind of success. It doesn't keep you warm at night. It doesn't call you on Tuesday just to talk. It doesn't remember your birthday without a calendar reminder. You can't have a conversation with it. You can't tell it you're sorry. I thought time was unlimited. That's the biggest lie we tell ourselves. Not that we'll live forever, but that there will always be later. There is no later. There's only the time you're in, and then it's gone. You can't buy it back. Not with all the money you earned, not with all the hours you put in, not with the best intentions.